Jamunati Jaya Jaya Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Giridvaradari Jaya Giridvaradari Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Radhanata Radha Radhanata Radhe Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Ho. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astotara Sata His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All the devotees Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Jai Ho. Jai. Thank you everyone for attending today's Bhagavatam class. This is actually the first time I'm sitting on the Vyasasan. So please, all the assembled Vaishnavas, if you could kindly give me your blessings so that I can speak something that's in line with Srila Prabhupada's teachings, what the Acharyas have given us, and also something that's pleasing to the ear of the Vaishnavas. So please bless me like that. Hare Krishna. So I thought today we could first sing, after reading the verse and the purport, I really found that what Prabhupada was giving in the purport was very similar, the mood and the message that just followed within the purport. It aligned very nicely with Prabhupada's favorite bhajan, which is Hari Hari Bifale by Narottam Das Thakur. So apologies, I came late. I just went to go print a few copies so that we could sing this. So I think everyone has one. You'll find the bhajan on the one side, and then on the flip side you'll find the translation. Prabhu, could you pass me one? Sorry, I didn't take one for myself. Ravindra Sarup Prabhu, will you be able to follow? Hari Hari Bifalya? Okay. Hari Hari Bifale Janama Goaino Hari Hari Manusya Janama Paya Radha Krishna Nabhajiya Manusya Janama Paya Radha Krishna Nabhajiya Janiyasho Niyabhisha Kaino Janiyasho Kaino Golokera Premadana Harinama Sankirtana Golokera Premadana Harinama Sankirtana Ratina Jan Milokeneta Samsara Bishanale Divanisiya Jwale Juraite Nakoino Pa Brajendra Nandena Jai Sachi Sutta Hoilo Sei Brajendra Nandena Jai Sachi Sutta Yolase Balaram Hoilo Nitai Dinahina Jata Chilo Harinamoda Harilo Hina Jata Chilo Harinamoda Harilo Dara Sakshi Jagai Mahadai Aha Prabhu Nanda Sutta Vrishabhanu Sutta Juta Aha Prabhu Nanda Sutta Vrishabhanu Sutta Juta Karuna karo he baro Karuna karo he baro Narottam das koi natte lo ranga poi Narottam das koi natte lo ranga poi Toma bina ke ache amara Toma bina ke ache amana Hare Krishna. Jai. Thank you so much, everyone. So we'll read the translation, but you'll see within the purport what I mean by it. You know, it's following the same message. So we'll just briefly read over it. You can read along with if you'd like. So translation. O Lord Hari, I have spent my life uselessly, having obtained this human birth, and have not worshipped Radha and Krishna. I have knowingly drunk poison. The treasure of the divine love in Goloka Vrindavan has descended as the congregational chanting of Lord Hari's holy name. Why did my attraction for that chanting never come about? Day and night my heart burns from the fire of the poison of worldliness, and I have not taken to the means to relieve it. Lord Krishna, who is the son of the king of Raja, became the son of Sachi, Lord Chaitanya, and Balaram became Nitai. The holy name delivered all the souls who were lowly and wretched. The two sinners, Jagai and Madai, are evidence of this. O Lord Krishna, son of Nanda, accompanied by the daughter of Rishabhanu, please be merciful to me now. Narottam Das says, O Lord, please do not push me away from your reddish lotus feet, for who is my beloved except for you? Jai. Narottam Thakur Das Maharaj Ki. Jai. Okay. So we'll be reading today from Canto 4, Chapter 7, verse 44. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. Prabhu, you can keep the sheets because they'll maybe want to read during the class the song sheets with them. Yeah. Okay. Please repeat responsively. Vidhara uchu Tvan Mayatam Abhipadya Kalavare Smin Kritva Maham Iti Durmatir Utpatay Svai Shipto Pi Ashad Visaya Lalasa Atmamoham Yusmat Katamrita Nisevaka Udvudasyet Okay. Vidara Uchu Tanmayatam Avipadya Kalaverasmin Kritva Mahamiti Durmate Ruppate Svai Shiptopi Ashad Visayalalasa Atmamoham Yushmat Katamrita Nisevaka Udvudasyet Vidhara Uchu Tvanmayatam Abhipadya Kalaverasmin Kritva Mahamiti Durmate Rupantasvai Shiptopyasyad Visayalalasa Atmamoham Yushmat Katamrita Nisevaka Udvudasyet Vidara Uchu Tvanmayartam Abhipadya Kalaverasmin Kritva Mahamiti Durmate Ruptaye Svai Shiptopyasyad Visayalalasa Atmamoham Yushmat Katamrita Nisevaka Udvudasyet Prabhus Vidyara Uchu Anmayayatam Abhipadya Kalaversmin Ritvaya Vamamaham Iti Durmatir Rupatta Isvai Topya Sad Visaya Lalasa Atmamoham Yusmat Katamrita Nisevaka Udvudasyet Vidyadhara Uchu Anmayayatam Abhipadya Kalaversmin Tesvai Shitopya Shad Visaya Lalasatmamoham Yushmat Katamrita Nisevaka Udvudasyet Vidyara Uchu Anmayayatam Abhipadya Kalaversmin Topya Sad Visaya Lalasat Mamoham Yusmat katamrita nishevaka udvadasyet. Mataji's Vidyara uchu Tanmayartam abhipadya kalaverasmin Ritva mamaham durmate ruptai svai Chiptopya sad visayalasat mamoham Yushmat katamrita nishevaka udvastasyet Vidyara uchu Tanmayayartam abhipadya kalaverasmin Ritva mahamete nurmater tapaisvai Siddhyasad visayalalasa atmamoham Asmat katamrita nisevaka udvasdasyet Vidvara uchu Tanmayayatam abhipadya kalaversmin Ritvai mamahete durmate ruptaisvai Siptopi asyad visayalalasa atmamoham Yusmat katamrita nishevaka udvadasayat. Thank you. Okay, let's read the word-for-word translation. Vidyadhara, the Vidharas. Uchu said, Tvatmayaya, by your external potency. Artam, the human body. Abhipadya, after obtaining. Kalavare, in the body. Ashmin, in this. Kritva, having misidentified. Mama, mine. Aham, I. Iti, thus. Durmati, the ignorant persons. Utpattai, by wrong roads. Svai, by one's own belongings. Chipta, distracted. Api, even. Asat, temporary. Vishaya, lalasa, having his happiness in sense objects. Atmamoham, the illusion of the body as the self. Yusmat, yo. Kata, topics. Amrita, nectar. Nectar. Nishevaka, relishing. Ut, from a long distance. Yudasyet, can be delivered. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki. The Vidyahara said, okay, let's just wait. Don't worry if you struggled with the verse. I spent half of the time preparing, trying to figure out the meter. And yeah. Shri Radharadhanath Ki, Shri Giri Govardhan Ki, Shri Gaur Hari Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation. The Vidyahara said, My dear Lord, this human form of body is meant for attaining the highest perfectional objective, but impelled by your external energy, the living entity misidentifies himself with his body and with material energy, and therefore, influenced by Maya, he wants to become happy by material enjoyment. He is misled and always attracted by temporary happiness, illusory happiness. But your transcendental activities are so powerful that if one engages in hearing and chanting such topics, he can be delivered from illusion. The human form of life, or purport, the human form of life is called artada because the body can very nicely help the embodied soul to achieve the highest perfection. Prahlad Maharaj said that even though temporary, the body can give us the highest perfectional achievement. In the process of evolution from the lower to the higher grade of living entity, or of living, the human form of life is a great boon. But Maya is so strong that in spite of achieving this great boon of the human form of life, we are influenced by temporary material happiness, and we forget our goal of life. We are attracted by things which will cease to exist. The beginning of such attraction is the temporary body. In this horrible condition of life, there is only one way of liberation: to engage in the activities of transcendental chanting and hearing of the holy name of the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The words Yushmat Katamrita Nishevaka mean those who engage in relishing the nectar of topics of your Lordship. There are two narrative books which especially concern the words and activities of Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is the instruction given by Krishna, and Srimad Bhagavatam is the book containing topics exclusively about Krishna and his devotees. These two books are special nectar of the words of Krishna. For those who engage in preaching of these two Vedic literatures, it is very easy to get out of the illusory conditional life imposed upon us by Maya. The illusion is that the conditioned soul does not try to understand his spiritual identity. He is more interested in his external body, which is only a flesh, and which will be finished as soon as the time is designated. The whole atmosphere will change when the living entity has transmigrated from one body to another. Under the spell of Maya, he will again be satisfied in a different atmosphere. The spell of Maya is called Avharan Atmika Shakti, because it is so strong that the living entity is satisfied in any abominable condition, even if he is born as a worm living in the intestines or abdomen in the midst of urine and stool. Still, he is satisfied. This is the covering influence of Maya, but the human form of life is a chance to understand, and if one misses this opportunity, he is most unfortunate. The way to get out of the illusory Maya is to engage in topics of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya advocated a process whereby everyone may remain in his present position without change, but simply hear from the proper authoritative sources about Krishna. Lord Chaitanya advised everyone to spread the word of Krishna. He advised, all of you become spiritual masters. Your duty is simply to talk to whomever you meet of Krishna or the instruction given by Krishna. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness is operating for this purpose. We do not ask anyone to first change his position and then come to us. Instead, we invite everyone to come with us and simply chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Because we know that if one simply chants and hears the topics of Krishna, then one's life will be changed, and he will see new light, and his life will be successful. Let's read the translation again. The Vidyadhara said, Dear Lord, this human form of body is meant for attaining the highest perfectional objective, but impelled by your external energy, the living entity misidentifies himself with his body and with the material energy, and therefore, influenced by Maya, he wants to become happy by material enjoyment. He is misled and always attracted by temporary, illusory happinesses. But your transcendental activities are so powerful that if one engages in hearing and chanting such topics, he can be delivered from illusion. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Aparakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Shadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Haripriya Nama Om Vishnuparaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasketyadi Shatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya. So today we're hearing in the trance in the verse about the Vidyadharas giving praise to the Supreme Lord. And these Vidyadharas are higher living entities from the upper planetary systems, and they are similar to the demigods. There's a story in the 10th canto about the head of the Vidyadharas, who is known as Sudarshana, and he was actually cursed to become, he was puffed up because of his bodily beauty, and he was making fun of some sages, and then he was cursed by these sages to take birth as a serpent, an earth-like serpent. And he actually appears then in Krishna Leela, and while the coward men, they're on they're out in the forest by the Saraswati River, and to worship Lord Shiva. And then while they were taking rest, there was the serpent, this Vidyadhara, Sudarshana, and he was actually swallowing Nanda Maharaj. And Nanda Maharaj was, calling out for the help of Krishna. And the coward men, they were trying to beat the snake, but to no avail. The snake was still continuing to swallow Nanda Maharaj. And then Krishna touched the serpent with his lotus feet, and the serpent transformed then into the Vidyadhara, this beautiful form. And there's a very nice description of the beauty of this Vidyadhara. So the Vidyadharas are very elevated species. Their capacity, their mental capacity, their physical capacity is much more than what we have in the human form of life. Still, these Vidyadharas, they're saying that this human form of body, even though they have this form that is much higher, they say this human form of body is meant for attaining the highest perfectional objective. But impelled with your external energy, the living entity must identify himself with the body. So this is why I sang this bhajan, Hari Hari Bifale Janama Goainu. Because actually, if you read the translation, O Lord Hari, I've spent my life uselessly, having obtained this human birth. Having not worshipped Radha and Krishna, I've knowingly drunk poison. So we have this human form of life which is extremely rare. The other day, Arjunacharya Prabhu, he mentioned how bhakti is most easily practiced on the earth planet, in this human form of life. So this is a very rare opportunity that we have to actually practice devotional service in this human form of life. Prabhupada mentions in the purport the word arthada, and I tried to find this word anywhere else in the Veda base, and it was actually only in this purport, in the whole of our literatures that we have available, that this word arthada comes up. And they didn't even have, like a translation on Veda base, so I went to do some more research on it. And actually this word arthada, it's a name of Lakshmi, and it means, munificent, profitable, or conferring advantages. So this word arthada, it means something that can bring you great wealth, something that can bring you a great boon. And this is what we have in this human form of life. Now, the difference, this is what Arjunacharya Prabhu was mentioning the other day, that these, like for instance, the Vidyadharas on the higher planetary systems, they struggle with devotional service because of all the distractions, all the comforts that they have in the heavenly planets, all the happiness that they have within the heavenly planets. And so it's very difficult to become absorbed in the transcendental nature, because they're, as it says here in the verse, he is misled and always attracted by temporary, illusory happiness. And this is what's happening in the heavenly planets. There's this happiness that's very, very alluring. It's much more than what we can ever experience on this planet. But still, this happiness is illusion. It's Maya. So on the heavenly planets, it's very difficult, whereas we have this opportunity in the human form of body, because we face an equal amount of sukham and dukham. There's a proportionate amount. Whereas in the hellish planets, on the other hand, it's just dukham, it's just suffering. And it's so difficult then, when you're in constant suffering, to actually engage in devotional service. You're just trying to cope with the pain. So we have this relatively proportionate level of happiness and distress within our lives. And therefore, we can actually still engage with a relatively steady mind in devotional service. So, yeah, Prabhupada emphasizes how valuable this human form of life is. And then, furthermore, in the purport, he again mentions how we're attracted by temporary illusion. So even though we have this human form of life, even though we have such a valuable form of life, still we're completely enamored by the material energy. And the material energy it's not easy to overcome. It's said then in the next, it's still in the same paragraph. Prabhupada mentions the avaranatmika shakti, this shakti of Maya, that puts the entity into this feeling of comfortability. Again, going back to that point of comfortability. So much so that even the worm in the stool or in the intestines, he still feels comfortable. He still feels that he's enjoying. Just like the pig still feels like, he's enjoying the stool that he's eating. So, yeah, it's amazing how difficult this shakti, this illusion, is to overcome. It's inconceivable actually. But we have the remedy for this. Golokera prema dana harinama sankirtan. This is what we were singing in the bhajan. This chanting of Hare Krishna, this is the treasure of Goloka Vrindavan. And then, what is the next? Brajendra Nandayana Je Sachi Suto Holoy Se Balaram Hoilo Nitai Dina Hina Jate Chilo Hari Nama Udharilo Tar Sakshi Jagai Madhai. So, Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya, they brought this chanting of Hare Krishna. Golokera Prema Dahana. They brought this chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra to the fallen souls, to the Jagais and Madhais of the world. And that's our category, if we look at it very honestly. We're the Jagais and Madhais of this world. And still, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, they've come down very mercifully, and they've brought this chanting. And this chanting of Hare Krishna, it's not only the means to get out, but it's also the end. It's also goal. So, whereas here, we're chanting, we're trying to get free from anarthas. We're chanting, it's sometimes very dry. Or sometimes we have a wonderful kirtan, like earlier by Ravindra Sarup Prabhu. So sometimes we have these good kirtans, we have good experiences with the holy name. And this is purifying us. But it's not just the purifying, but it's also the goal. Because at the end, when we perfect our chanting, then we go to the spiritual world, then we actually experience real chanting, where they make, Ravindra Sarup Prabhu look like some street singer, there in Goloka Vrindavan. Because in Goloka Vrindavan, there's real chanting there. It's nectar. Every word is a dance. Every word is a song. Every step is a dance. That place, Goloka Vrindavan, and that's where real chanting is going on. But that chanting has now come down to deliver the fallen souls. And then Prabhupada further, he goes on in the purport to say that, to overcome this Maya, the chanting, it's sufficient, but we need to substantiate our chanting with reading. He mentions Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. These are very important scriptures. And actually, if we don't read, it's very difficult to actually chant with much feeling. Because if you don't read, you don't empower your intelligence with, the reason behind your chanting, then your chanting becomes very shallow. If you don't have the Vedic understanding behind the chanting, then your chanting just becomes sort of sentimental. It becomes, you're just doing it because you're being told, chant Hare Krishna, everyone around you is chanting Hare Krishna, you've taken a vow, now you have to chant this much of Hare Krishna. But when you start reading Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, and you start understanding, what is this world, what is actually happening to us within this world, then it's easier to overcome this avarhan atmika shakti, this potency that makes us feel comfortable here. When you're empowered by this knowledge within these scriptures to understand what is actually happening to us, what is our actual position at the moment. If you can understand what is our position, then naturally you'll become very, very enthusiastic to chant. So understanding our fallen position, understanding that we are actually in an unnatural condition, this actually helps us to chant with more feeling. There's then the verse number 4. Haha Prabhu Nanda Sutta, Rishabhanu Sutta Juta, Korona Karoho e Baro, Narutama Dasekoi, Nateelo Rangapoi, Tuma Bina Keha Che Amara. So this feeling, O Lord, please do not push me away from your reddish lotus feet. Who is my beloved except for you? Another translation also mentions that, where's my shelter except for you? So we need to substantiate, Narottam Das Thakur is giving us the feeling. It said that the bhajans of the acharyas, they give us the mood, the feeling of what's in the scriptures. They give us this boost in our devotional service, the emotion that we feel when we're chanting, by taking the essence of the scriptures and putting it into these songs which we can sing, and they're very pleasing to the ear. But if we don't substantiate, these feelings with the intelligence, why am I actually feeling that I have no other shelter except for Krishna? For only so long can you artificially maintain like a sentimental attitude of taking shelter of Krishna. If you just you're in kind of like a built up, state of mind, like a mental build up of, taking shelter of Krishna, imaginative kind of build up. If you don't substantiate this with your intelligence, understanding that the scriptures are giving us the knowledge by which we can come to the understanding of our position, then you won't be able to substantiate chanting. It'll become very shallow. Then furthermore in the purport, Prabhupada is mentioning that one who is preaching, not only reading these scriptures, but one who is preaching the Vedic scriptures, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, that person can overcome this shakti, this avaran atmika shakti. So one who is preaching actually gets the ability to study the Vedic scriptures. Then actually in this age of Kali, we aren't qualified to study the Vedas. In this age of Kali, it's very difficult to study anything. The mind is chanchala, the mind is flickering. The mind can't focus on one thing for too long. After some time, we start dozing off, or we start, feeling tired, or the mind goes somewhere else. It's very difficult to study anything, what to speak of these elevated Vedic scriptures. But if one attempts to preach these Vedic scriptures, if one attempts to preach Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, then one becomes empowered by Lord Chaitanya. And then what is superficially on a material plane, when we look at it, just gyan, just knowledge, becomes divya gyan, or it becomes vigyan, realized knowledge, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And to get this mercy, we need to actually preach, because that is Lord Chaitanya's mood, preaching. So if we don't follow this mood of Lord Chaitanya and preaching actually the scriptures, then just studying them, it's not going to be enough. Just studying the scriptures and getting that intelligence, it won't be enough. So how much time do we have? Okay. Yeah, then strengthening. So having this realization, by then preaching. What do we do after this? We've started to preach. We're starting to get this intelligence. What is the purport behind? Why are we doing this? Why are we getting this intelligence? What is the power of intelligence? And actually, the power of intelligence, it's the differentiating factor between us and animals. So, whereas the animals, when the mind and the senses of the body give some dictation, okay, go sleep now, okay, go eat now, okay, go mate now, then the animal immediately has to respond to it. The animal immediately has to respond to the call of nature. But the differentiating factor with the human being is that by the power of the intelligence, the human being can refuse. The human being can refuse to follow the dictations of the mind and body. So if we empower our intelligence, then the intelligence can be used in a detrimental way, or it can be used in a very powerful, very transformative way. If the intelligence is empowered with scripture, then we can choose to deny some of the dictations of the body. For instance, waking up in the morning, when the bed is very warm and it's very cold outside, and the body says, you need some more rest, you're feeling a little bit sick. But if your intelligence is sharp enough, if you've been reading and you understand that waking up is very important, then you can come to that point of overcoming the mind and saying, okay, no, I'm going to get up now. I'm not going to lie down. So this is the power of the intelligence in spiritual life. This is the importance of intelligence in spiritual life. Whereas if your intelligence is powered by speculative knowledge, if you aren't reading, but you're actually just relying on mental speculation, because whether you're a Vedantist or whether you're just a high school dropout, still you have intelligence. In the human form of life, we have intelligence, we have a high intelligence. So the difference between the Vedantist, the one who studies scripture, he's following the authoritative path, and the street sweeper or the speculator or the dropout, he's following his own speculative knowledge. And even in devotional service, sometimes we follow our speculative knowledge, and we put it under the category of, it's spontaneous, There's a lot of spontaneity, but actually it's speculation. And the speculation is very detrimental to our devotional service. If you start trying to, for instance, with deity service, it's a very standard process. But as soon as you're substantiating your service with speculative knowledge, then naturally your service is going to have some flaws coming up, some things that aren't correct. Maybe you decide, no, Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, he's a sannyasi. So he's a sannyasi, he mustn't have nice dress. We must dress him in orange only. So when you don't have backed up your spiritual life by this intelligence based on Shastra, then speculation comes in very easily. And speculation is very detrimental for spiritual life. So this is the importance. Prabhupada is mentioning 3 things here. The chanting of Hare Krishna, this is the remedy. The books are the basis. They give us the intelligence. And then the preaching of the books. This gives us the potency to understand the literature actually, and then apply the intelligence. Without the mercy of the Lord, we can't study the Vedas. It's not possible. Let me just check if there's one more point. I think we can end off with that. Yeah, we can end off there if anybody has any comments, questions, Raghunath or corrections. Raghunath Bhatta Prabhu, Rangadevi. Yeah. Oh. Mm. 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 Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Mm. Yes. Yes. Mm. 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 Oh. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, some good points. Um, yeah, you mentioned the first point about what Arjunacharya Prabhu was saying the other day about the bhakti on other planets. Yeah, definitely. There is bhakti on other planets. Narada Muni is on all different planets, and he has so much bhakti. I mean, the process in the Vedas prescribed is that one elevates gradually up on the path upwards, and then afterwards, getting to Brahmaloka, one goes back to Godhead. The point that I was trying to bring out, maybe I didn't clarify enough, that it's a little bit easier. It's easier on the Earth planet than on other planets, but definitely bhakti is there on the other planets. And then other point you made about the kirtan. Yeah, definitely. Kirtan is always good. Kirtan is always good. But for the essence that I was trying to bring out was, yeah, on our level, we don't have as much, attachment to the chanting. Sometimes we, fall out of, we're not so attached, and we become distracted sometimes. So the quality, therefore, is on our side is not as good as it is, in the spiritual world. And also another thing Prabhupada mentioned, that perfection means there's surrender, and imperfection means there's a lack of surrender. In Transcendental Diaries, he mentions this. So, in the spiritual world where there's complete, full surrender, then Krishna gives all ability for the perfection of the chanting of the holy name to come about. Here we still have some tendencies, some marginal tendency to not be so surrendered. So, the tendency is not to so much have that level of chanting, the level of concentration. That was. Thank you so much for the points, Prabhu. Thank you, everyone. Oh, but Mother Rangadevi has a point. Ravindra Prabhu, mic. Oh, it's not working. Okay, but that's. You can just say the point. I'll repeat maybe. Mm. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a wonderful point Madhurangi Devi is making about the pastime of Krishna entering Dwarka, and the feelings that were invoked within the residents of Dwarka, especially the ladies of Dwarka, when they were seeing Krishna, the symptoms of bhava coming out when they were seeing Krishna entering Dwarka. And that's a nice point that, scripture isn't only feeding the intelligence. Like I was focusing mostly on the fact that the scripture gives us the intelligence, within our practice of devotional service. But actually, as Mother Ranga Devi is pointing out, within the scriptures, there's also this deep emotion that can be stirred by studying the scriptures, that can help us with our chanting. When we read the level of chanting of the citizens of Dwarka, when we read about the devotion of Prithu Maharaj, for example, then these things give us some impetus to increase our taste in chanting and our emotion in chanting. Thank you. That was a wonderful point, Mother Rangadevi. Anyone else? Any corrections? Okay. Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Jai. 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 Oh, glories to Guru Maharaj. Karoti vachalam gam langayati patmaham vande Shri Gurum Dina Taranam.